Hey there, TTH here with Technological Gadgets, bringing you the best in tech and making it work for you. On this channel, we usually do tech gear reviews, but sometimes we check out other people's setups. And in today's video, we're gonna be checking out Bitwit setup. Apparently, it's his like sort of bedroom, sort of like, if I'm not wrong, bedroom laptop kind of comfy cozy setup, like next to his bed. So you can just chill out and I guess maybe do some work or play some games or things like that. And yeah, let's just see, I guess, how is this setup, and maybe you give us inspiration for those maybe you'll give your inspiration for those of y'all who have a laptop and wanna have a sort of compact, I guess, laptop setup in your bedroom. So if that sounds pretty good, make sure to, so if this video sounds interesting, make sure to drop me a like to let me know, and comment down below what other setups you'd like me to check out next, and I'll be sure to do so. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you'd like to help me out, and this channel totally for free. But without further ado, let's get right into the video.
What's up, guys? So I'm at home right now, and full disclaimer, it is a disaster in here. I'm in my bedroom right now. Please ignore the mess on my bed and my open exposed closet for the world to see, but this is where today's video is going to take place, because I've just put together a gaming and work setup here in my bedroom. It's the first time I've actually had a setup in my room in like 7 years, so I'm pretty excited about it. Sure, I've always had a setup in an adjacent room nearby with a gaming desktop and all that, but something hits different about having the comfort and convenience of a setup mere feet away.
Yeah, that's true.
Bed. The setup is kind of interesting too, because I'm not using a gaming desktop.
I mean, it's pretty similar to mine. My bed is just like literally, I think, like 3 feet away from my setup. So yeah.
Actually using a laptop for everything. So I figured this would be a way
that's
to
kind
share
of
some ideas
similar
with
to
you
my
guys,
setup,
for
using a
looking
laptop.
for a similar solution, especially if you don't have a gaming desktop. Also, I know a lot of you guys are interested in what kind of tech that I use in my personal.
Yeah, I guess for especially for maybe students and stuff like that, you need to buy a laptop, to bring it around and stuff like that. Then you can just use that laptop to make it a setup. Why not, right?
Life. So I guess
instead of buying another desktop.
Both of those purposes. Also, sorry if it sounds like I'm talking with a lisp. I kind of am, because I'm wearing my Invisalign retainers right now, my aligners. It's gross, I know, but it also makes it really hard to talk, so sorry about that in advance.
Before we continue, thanks to Mailgun for sponsoring today's video. Mailgun is the leading email delivery service for prevent conversion rate. Wikipedia has never been eating with Mailgun.
Laptop first, shall we? So this is the Lenovo Legion 7. It's been my daily driver for
if I'm not wrong, it's about the 1 or 2 years old already at this point, if I'm not wrong.
I use it exclusively for work though, or I have been, mainly because there's no point in gaming on it when I have a perfectly good gaming desktop in the room nearby, and anytime I'm out and about, I don't really game because I'm usually preoccupied with whatever it is I'm doing outside of the house. So it seems like a waste of perfectly good hardware, because the thing's actually a very capable gaming laptop. It has a Core i7-11800H, 8-core 16-thread processor.
I guess gaming laptops, a lot of people think just for gaming, but like gaming laptops are really, really powerful. Like you can do a lot of editing stuff on it or things like that, especially with that GPU and a lot of GPU accelerated stuff, like video editing, music production, so many other stuff, VFX and things like that.
32 gigs of DDR4 and an RTX 3080 with Max-Q. I haven't been using it to its full potential, and I've been feeling kind of bad and guilty about that for a while, and this setup pretty much fixes that. For me, priority number one was to build a dockable setup that offered a gaming experience that was indistinguishable from gaming on a desktop. But a little bit more about the laptop. I'll talk about the screen, mainly because I'm using it as a secondary display. So it's a 16-inch screen, 2560 by 1600. So it's got a 16 by 10 aspect ratio, which is pretty unique for most panels these days, let alone gaming laptops.
Yeah, true.
I like the additional vertical space that it offers there. It also has a 165 Hz refresh rate, and it supports G-Sync. I have it sitting on a laptop stand that I got on Amazon from Boyada. Just some cheap brand. It wasn't too expensive, but it actually works really well. It's heavy and sturdy. It doesn't really wobble. Okay,
Well, it looks like it's made of
tiny bit,
metal,
but
I
that's only
guess.
because it's slightly hanging off the edge of my mouse pad. If it was just on a completely flat surface on the desk, it's rock solid. And the arms are really sturdy, they don't budge, doesn't like lower over time or anything like that. Really solid stand. I'll put links to everything in the
Yeah, I think this laptop is around like,
you can see I've also got
like almost 2 kilos.
Xbox 360 gamepad just hiding under there, which kind of just blends in. Black on black, you probably didn't even see it at first. So I like the fact that it's kind of invisible, but I can just reach for it at a moment's notice whenever I need it. And the laptop stand also obviously elevates the laptop for better cooling since there's ventilation and fans at the bottom, and it also brings it level with the display. The monitor I've connected to the laptop is the Pixie.
Yeah, it makes it really ergonomic. So like your laptop screen is at eye level, so it's easier to see that way. I mean, I already have my laptop on a laptop stand, so that says a lot about laptop stands.
TX275C Prime. It's 27 inches, 2560 by 1440, 3 millisecond response time, 100 hertz, and has FreeSync and is G-Sync compatible. It's actually a really well-spec'd monitor for this laptop. Obviously, I have plenty of other panels that have higher refresh rates, higher resolution, but I think the specs on this panel are really well fit for this laptop. Obviously, the RTX 3080 with Max-Q is pretty much the fastest GPU you can find in a laptop right now, but it's still...
I think the 3080 Ti non-Max-Q is probably the fastest one right now. But I think when he filmed this video, it's like a few weeks back, so yeah.
In comparison, performance-wise, to a full-fat desktop RTX 3080. So most of the games
I would say the 3080 Max-Q probably performs around the 3060 if I'm not mistaken. So drop down 2 notches. So 3080 Max-Q, you drop down 2 notches. 3060 for desktop, if I'm not wrong, it should perform around the 3060 of desktop equivalent of a 3060, I think, which is still like really good.
That I'm playing right
especially
now,
like
apart
on the
from
go.
Valorant, which is like the only esports title I really dabble in, I'm getting around 60 to 90 FPS. That's in games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and Halo Infinite, at least when I'm playing at 1440p. To try to drive a 4K display with this GPU, just it wouldn't work out. I wouldn't recommend it. So 1440p seems like the sweet spot, and the frame rates I'm averaging in the titles I play right now fall right in line with this monitor's G-Sync refresh rate, or FreeSync.
Hey, I mean, if he wants to stream, right, and he wants to get more frame rate, he can definitely just drop it down to 1080p and he'll still do really good.
And G-Sync compatible refresh rate range, which is 48 to 100 hertz. Another unique feature about this monitor that works perfectly for this setup is that it has a USB Type-C port on it that supports DisplayPort alt mode, which means it can carry a DisplayPort signal. And that means I'm actually getting full G-Sync support on this display from the laptop.
Wow.
That's all happening over a single USB Type-C cable. You can see right here that Thunderbolt icon. The laptop supports
Actually, that's really good, because especially for a setup that, you know, this laptop itself, he brings along on the go, he needs a monitor, something like this, so he can just plug it out quickly and just move on with his day. Plug this out, plug out the charger, and just move on, right? Instead of having to plug out a bunch of cables, and then after that, you know, then after he can bring the laptop along with him. So yeah, this is actually really good for setup that he's using on the go. And I think for most people, if you're using it like more on the go and like in a setup, like both equally amount of times, and you constantly move it on the go, yeah, I think something like that, just a single, you know, single like USB-C port straight to the monitor, is actually a really great like option.
And this is actually the only laptop I've ever seen, or at least put my hands on, that has 3 USB Type-C ports, one on the back and one on either side. There's actually no USB Type-A ports on either side of the laptop, which I find kind of annoying. It doesn't really bother me for this setup in particular, but when I'm using it on the go and stuff, I'm like, why are all the USB Type-A ports on the back? It's because they're all C's now.
Yeah,
they're all C's, 3 C's. It's insane. But anyway, the fact that I'm getting G-Sync on this display with 100 hertz and the color reproduction is actually very decent, especially for the price of this display, which I think is like, what, $320, somewhere in the low 300s. Color gamut is like 122% sRGB and 91% DCI-P3. All those really combine to make a gaming experience that, again, is imperceptible. I cannot tell that I'm gaming on a laptop. It just feels like I'm gaming on a desktop. The only thing that gives it away is the fan noise of the laptop, which isn't even that bad, to be honest. And honestly, when I'm wearing the headset, it just completely goes away anyway. The other thing about the USB-C port on this monitor is that it supports 65-watt charging. So it doesn't really do me much good because I'm gaming on this laptop, which comes with a 300-watt power brick. But if I'm using like a lower-powered laptop like this Lenovo ThinkPad, hi kitty, say hi. You're boring. if I'm using this like Lenovo ThinkPad or those of you
like an
who
Ultrabook, I guess.
MacBook Airs or whatever, MacBooks in general, you can pretty much just charge this with that USB-C port. So you don't even need a power adapter.
Yeah,
Which
just one
makes the whole
cable.
dockable setup that much more convenient and awesome, especially for those of you who are like working from home and not necessarily gaming on your setups.
True.
We also have an HDMI port
Or
on this
lower
monitor
power
to which I've
gaming
connected my Nintendo
laptop.
Switch. I haven't used my Switch in a really long time, but I started using it again for Pokemon Arceus. I've been diving into that rabbit hole recently, really been enjoying the game, and it's super nice to just be able to have a place to play it instead of having to go out to the living room every time and game on the big screen TV, which I don't always feel like doing. Sometimes I want something that's just more, you know, at a desk. I think I like playing games at a desk much more than on a couch and things like that. But for audio
I guess
on the
same
Switch,
here.
I'll either use the built-in speakers of the monitor, which aren't that great, as you might expect, or I'll use my AirPods, which I've connected via Bluetooth to the Switch as well. One thing about the monitor stand, it does come with a really nice stand. Features pan, swivel, and tilt, can also be rotated 90 degrees. It's completely toolless, very sturdy. It's a quality stand, but because this desk is so compact, I wanted to save as much space on the desk as possible, so I did get a third-party arm.
I understand.
And I think it's from Huanuo, some Chinese brand.
I guess you can probably hide this monitor stand behind like the laptop stand itself, since I see the space behind there. So if you want the cleaner setup, you can hide it behind there.
Amazon.
But that's my opinion. Or you can center it. I think it will look better either hidden behind a laptop stand or just centering it.
40-50 bucks, something like
But
that.
that's my
Got a
opinion.
Gas spring, it's pretty beefy. And it saves so much room on the desk and also allows me to just position the monitor perfectly right next to the laptop.
True, and to move it up and down as well.
My keyboard is
If he needs to.
the Keychron K4. You guys recommended this to me on Twitter.
Pretty
I asked you guys
standard
for
keyboard, I
recommendations
would
for
say.
a good wireless mechanical keyboard. Keychron kept popping up time and again, so I finally pulled the trigger. I actually accidentally purchased the wrong one initially. Where the heck is the keyboard? I originally
the
purchased
K2?
this earlier this week, which is also a K4, but it's only white LED, not RGB. And I got the Gatoron blue switches, which I hate. They're too clicky, too loud. So I'm gonna return that, and instead I traded it in for one with Gatoron red switches, which feel and sound a lot
linear
nicer,
ones,
in my
I
opinion.
would say.
And also RGB lighting, duh. This is actually a Bluetooth or wired keyboard. You can use it in either mode. Right now it's in wired mode. What I like about that is that it can clean up cable management in a pinch. If I ever just want a super clean environment, I can take this out. I also put a little cable management tie.
Oh, that's actually a pretty
Doesn't fall down. And obviously the keyboard can
smart
still work
thing to do.
wirelessly. And then I can use that cable to charge other devices like USB-C devices like my headset, for example, without losing the functionality of the keyboard. The other thing I really like about this keyboard is that it's so compact that you almost wouldn't notice it has a full 10-key number pad. It's really important to me. I love number pads. I use them all the time. As much as I love my custom-built GMMK Pros, I still miss out on that numpad experience. So it's not.
Yeah, and I guess since this keyboard is pretty compact, I would say he can probably bring it on the go with his laptop.
Nice that I have that, but still retain a very compact form factor with this keyboard. I kind of get to have my cake and eat it too. The mouse is the Logitech G502 Lightspeed.
Okay, pretty good for productivity as well.
This is only maybe, what, 2 or 3 years old now, this wireless version, but the original G502 came out like almost a decade ago, I want to say. It's been around forever. It's a legendary mouse, and the shape of it hasn't really changed over the years. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, if it's not broken, don't fix it. And the shape of this thing is just so nice. It's very ergonomic. Obviously, everything's subjective, but I think it fits my hand perfectly. I love the feel of the switches. There's a lot of buttons, programmable buttons, but without feeling overwhelming and obnoxious. The optical sensor is fantastic, and there's imperceptible latency. This thing is light speed.
Yeah, it's one of the
aptly named. It is so
best ergonomic wireless mouse.
I'm gaming with a wired mouse.
Best ergonomic wireless gaming
weight
mouse
system, which I think I've put an additional 8 grams of weight in there. I know all of you.
I know this is a pretty heavy mouse.
People are dying inside, but I'm still old school, kind of a boomer when it comes to my mice. I like them with a little bit of heft still. I also have my Bitwit mouse pad. This is the Bitwit Ensemble 1 mouse pad in Stealth. This is a Stealth 2.0 model. At first I thought it was going to be too big for this desk, but I actually love the way it fits. I think it does a good job of covering a lot of the surface of the desk to protect it. It also gives plenty of tracking area for the mouse and room for the keyboard without them feeling cramped, and it just looks fantastic, obviously. It has a microfiber material on the top, which also has a dye sublimation. Dye sublimation printing, which just seeps into the actual material as opposed to cheaper printing methods, which will leave just a slight residue of ink on top of the pad, and in worst case scenarios that can actually affect your tracking accuracy. So very good tracking on this pad as well. It also has a non-slip rubber back on the
Oh,
bottom.
it's pretty good mouse pad, I would say.
Edges, 3mm thick. These are in stock
Looks
right
pretty
now on
nice.
Bitwit.tech in case you guys are interested. Oh, I forgot to mention that I also have a wireless Qi charger for my phone.
Okay.
UTech. I've actually had this for a
Always
couple
useful to
years,
have
so there's
that,
nothing
especially
new,
if your
but this
phone has a wireless charger,
well, I'll tell you
like can
exactly
support
how
wireless
to wind it
charging.
and stuff in just a bit. Headsets, I have a Corsair HS80 RGB wireless. This is my first time using this headset, and I gotta say I like it a lot. In my opinion, this is more comfortable than the Virtuoso XT RGB wireless, which is a much more expensive headset from Corsair, and one that I use at the studio. Ear cups are fantastic. I think they're memory foam. Doesn't actually say, but it feels like memory foam. Very nice fabric
Yeah, it feels
material.
definitely
The headband
really
is
good.
comfortable. Flip down omnidirectional microphone.
I think it's one of the,
placement. It's
like,
very simple. It's just a power button and a volume wheel. And I love the fact that it's a power button and not
from what I know, it's one of the best wireless like
a
headsets.
switch. The Virtuoso has a switch on it that's kind of tiny. I gotta like use my fingernail to find it and flick it on. This is just a big ass button so I can turn it on and off very easily without looking. It's also using Corsair's Slipstream.
Yeah, I know the microphone is especially like really good, and like the sound quality itself as well. But mainly the microphone is like insane for the price.
And wireless technology,
wireless
has Dolby
headset.
Atmos and all that good stuff. The desk. Let's talk about the desk itself. So
Okay.
I love this desk. Another cheap product that I bought on Amazon for 60, 70 bucks. You can see the cable management's really good, except when I'm not using the keyboard cable, the cable does droop there. But
I guess it's a pretty good alternative to an IKEA desk.
it's bothering me. Much better. Much better. You can actually get pretty low before you start seeing cable. Here's a look at cat level. We'll talk more about what's going on underneath the desk in just a sec. But this is a 47-inch wide table. You can buy it in a variety of different sizes. 47 inches seem like the perfect fit for this corner of my room. It leaves enough margins on the sides for accessing that side of the bed or my closet, but it also fits all the hardware comfortably. You can choose from several different colors and finishes as well, but I just opted for brown, sort of like fake wood grain. And the material's actually held up. Like this finish has held up remarkably well in the 6 months that he's been using it, and he uses it fairly regularly. Oh, I should mention, I stole this desk from Ian. Well, I bought the desk for Ian, put it in his room, and then I recently just took it out and used it for my setup. But it's okay, I bought him a new one. He's fine. He was a little confused at first when he came home. He was like, where did my desk go? I was like, oh, I stole it. But anyway, the point is that he's been using it for half a year, and it still looks like it's brand new. Obviously, the mouse pad helps. He was using a similar size mouse pad, so that obviously helps, but even the parts that aren't protected have been holding up very nicely, which I was not expecting for a $70 desk on Amazon. We also have a storage pouch that can be mounted to either side of the desk.
Oh, okay, that's actually really useful
for my laptop, because it's a big ass honking 300 watt.
Oh wow,
brick.
that's pretty big.
It's so chunky. So I just hide that in there with some excess cabling from the power strip that's underneath the desk, as well as my gamepad for my Nintendo Switch. Desk also has a hook for a headset or whatever you want to hang on here, which can also be mounted to either side. Let's take a look at what's going on underneath here. And for this, I'm probably gonna have to get on my back and turn on my light. Okay. For starters, I've got a couple cable management channels. There's 1 and 2, tucks everything nicely away. And then we also have a power strip with, I think, 6 outlets, I should say, and then 4 USB Type A ports. I've got my wireless Qi charger connected to one, and then a micro USB cable connected to another that you can see terminates right here with another cable tie behind the desk so it doesn't fall down, but I can pull it up in a pinch if I want to start charging my my wireless mouse. Right next to the power strip, I mounted a StarTech 7-port USB hub. This is all going back to the laptop over a single USB Type-C port. So again, it's really nice that laptop has 3 USB-C ports. From that one USB-C port, we're getting a lot of connectivity here. The wireless receiver for my Xbox 360 controller. I have dongles for my wireless headset, as well as the mouse. There's also the USB-C cable that's going to my keyboard. And then we have 2 USB Type-C ports here, one of which is being used by this other USB-C hub. So I have a hub connected to a hub. Yes, it's ludicrous. This has a USB 3.0
Yeah, but I kind of get it. Like all his other setup stuff is like at that one hub, and then this is like his quick access portion, especially with, like things that you need to take in and out really often, like let's say some USB devices and maybe a hard drive or something like that, external storage, and like his SD cards and micro SD cards. So I kind of understand that, and yeah, it's actually really, logical.
As 2 Type A ports, one of which is being occupied by a Kensington fingerprint reader that I use for logging into Windows. The official driver for this device that I pulled off of the Kensington website did not work at all. I had to find a workaround on Reddit. Someone pointed me to a completely different driver for a completely different product, but that seemed to do the trick. Once I got it all set up though, it's been working flawlessly ever since. It just makes logging in super easy. I think I just
I would say for this thing itself, maybe tuck it in a little bit more so it's more recessed instead of poking out, because in case you bang it, it might drop. You know, in case like you knock into it, it might drop. But that's my advice.
But that seemed to do the trick. Once I got it all set up though, it's been working flawlessly ever since. It just makes logging in super easy. I think I just accidentally tapped it and it logged in.
Okay.
Finger. Super quick,
pretty fast.
super accurate thing. It just works. It just works. When I mounted this hub here, I definitely had the fingerprint reader in mind first, but it's also really nice to have just an additional USB port if I ever want to connect something. Because again, I wanted this to be just like a desktop experience. And a desktop is generally on your desk, or at least if it's on the floor, which shame on you, first off, but usually the ports are more or less accessible from arm's length away from your chair. That wouldn't be the case here if it was just the laptop. If I had to plug in something, because there's no USB Type A ports on either side, I would have to go behind here and plug it into one of the 3 ports on the back every single time, which would be really annoying after a while. So this really just increases the functionality and convenience of everything by having some front I/O, so to speak. So yeah, hella connectivity here, tons of functionality, so many devices connected, all to a laptop that, apart from the power adapter, only has 2 cables coming from it. And they're both USB-C, they're both reversible, which means it's super easy to dock and undock this thing at a moment's notice. One final thing about cable management.
And also, you know, who knows, maybe he will always have like a extra like charger in his bag for his laptop, so he only just needs to unplug everything and just bring it on the go, and like that's it basically, and he doesn't even need to worry about a charger, which is pretty amazing.
If you're wondering where I have the power strip connected to, it's actually running down the leg of this table and then boom into this cable channel that's plugged into an extension cable that is rated to handle this surge protector. They're both 18 gauge and all that. And then we have this nice cable channel that I installed all the way down. It goes all the way back behind my bed, which is the nearest wall outlet, apart from this one that is squarely in the middle of my wall. Why? Like, I don't understand. Like, who built this house?
Yeah, I have no idea too.
I'm sure those of you who are more savvy with this type of thing know why.
I mean, I have one outlet that's like literally
in the middle of a wall, but I have no idea. And I wasn't about to run cables from the middle of the wall going straight down. Even with the cable channel, I just don't want, you know, plastic popping out of the wall and stuff. So this works out very nicely. When you walk into the room and stuff, if you're not really looking for it, you almost don't even notice it. It just looks like part of the baseboard. But that is the setup. Plans, future plans for the setup. I know I just put it together, but I'm already thinking, you know, a setup is never done. A setup is never done. You're always iterating it, adding things, seeing how you can improve it. And I think the first thing I want to do is add RGB. Of course, I just, you know, it's going to make this thing go fast.
That's pretty good.
Definitely lighting behind the desk and behind the monitor.
Some lighting is good.
Some wall decor, because my room is super plain. I have not decorated this room
looks
at all.
A bit like a prison cell.
Moving into this house like 3 years ago, so I need to actually start dressing this up if I want it to feel a little bit more homey, a little more cozy. And while the monitor right now is perfect for this laptop, eventually new laptops will come out. I'll probably upgrade this to one that has a next generation RTX 4000 series GPU, which is
3080 Ti,
faster than the 3000 series. And in that case, I'll be able to probably push games, the games that I play, well over 100 hertz or 100 FPS. And in that case, I have my eye on another Pixio panel, the PX277 Pro, which has the same dimensions, same size and resolution as this display, except it's 1 millisecond response time as opposed to 3, 165 hertz, and it has a slightly wider color gamut. I think at 98% DCI-P3, if I remember correctly. And that would be a really nice upgrade because it also has that same USB Type-C port that I would be able to leverage with the laptop. So that's just an idea right now. Also, chair. My chair is pathetic. This chair is absolutely,
definitely a big upgrade.
It's fine for what it is. It's a $60, $70 chair that I got on Amazon. It's more like a stool. I mean, the thing's so basic. No armrests. It's not very ergonomic. It's not the type of chair you want to sit in for long gaming hours. I do like the fact that it's compact, it's small, tucks away nicely. If you guys have any recommendations for a comfortable ergonomic chair that isn't too big, it doesn't need to be like super tiny, but as long as it's not massive, one that maybe has like armrests that flip up, that might be kind of cool, so I can tuck under the desk nicely. That definitely needs to change.
Yeah, definitely.
That, though, this setup is finished, and I'm really, again, so happy with how it turned out. You guys let me know what you think, and if you have any other suggestions for me. That's gonna do it for this one, guys. Thank you for tuning in and making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please toss a like.
Okay, so you said any suggestions on this computer, right? So okay, as we can see this setup here, there are some suggestions that I would, I guess, like to make. As you said, RGB, yes, RGB is pretty good. That's a pretty good thing. Maybe you can put a webcam instead of using like this laptop's webcam. Maybe you can use like add a additional like external webcam. you know, maybe the Logitech Brio is a pretty good option, you know, or different types of webcams, be it, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, in case you need to go on like video conferences and stuff like that, you know, it definitely will you know, improve your video quality instead of using like a like cheap and maybe bad, like, you know, laptop webcam itself. And you know, overall I would say the cable management and everything is really like really good. Maybe you can add a bit more decoration to it, I would say, to make it a bit more unique. And yeah, definitely, as you said, adding RGB, I think, will make this setup look way better in my opinion as well. Something that you could do. And also for the monitor arm, you can try to maybe put the monitor arm behind the laptop stand, like hide it behind the laptop stand itself, or you could center it, because I think putting it like that, you know, doesn't look as good. So maybe you can put it behind the laptop stand to hide it, or you can just center it, you know, to make it perfectly in the middle, and I think that would look much better. But yeah, that is my personal opinion on, you know, Bitwit sort of laptop sort of like bedroom laptop setup. Do let me know, what do you think of this setup, and you know, what would you improve on in this setup. You know, do let me know all of that down in the comment section below, as I'm really interested to know. But you know, if you like this video so far, make sure to drop me a like to let me know. And you know, if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you'd like to help support me and this channel totally for free. But anyways, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.